Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
It is now time for the live broadcast of the NAACP with Gwinnett, Westbrook, and Mr. DUMAS.
And good evening, and welcome to another segment of the NAACP Truth Show. I'm Willie Dumas, your host. Certainly happy you could join us today. We look forward to having a great show today. I took a little sabbatical on last week. President Westbrooks was here in my absence, and I believe she did an interview with our current DA here in Macon, Georgia, and so I'm sure they had a great show. Hope you tuned in to get some great information shared about different things affecting our community here today. Today, I have the privilege of having a great guest joining us today, and that is in the form of Mr. Eddie White. And I'm going to allow Mr. White to introduce himself and kind of let you know what we're going to talk about today. We had the opportunity to meet a couple of weeks ago for a Black Voters Matters conference and had a great time there, shared a lot of good ideas. And so we want to bring that to the forefront, as well as him talking to you about his organization. Mr. White, are you on the line?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. Thanks for having me.
Hey, certainly happy to have you. We had a great time a couple weeks ago. Had a lot of information that was shared as far as this upcoming election, as far as getting people registered to vote. We got a chance to hear about some of the injustices, environmental injustice, something I never really thought about, and had an opportunity for them to explain that. We got information and information that really the community needs to know as far as it relates to getting out the vote for this November election. So if you would, go ahead and kind of introduce yourself and tell them about your organization.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Eddie White. I am the current president of the Macon chapter of the A. Philip Randolph Institute, a national organization based out of Washington, D.C. We're a civil rights and labor organization going around trying to make sure that we encourage people, educate, inform people of what we do and where we come from. A. Philip Randolph Institute, the Macon chapter is about 27 years old. We currently have about 22 active members. We do voter education, voter registration, and we're a civil rights organization. We work alongside of the NAACP, Black Voters Matter, NAN, any other organization going in that direction, trying to help people.
And Mr. White, of course, we want to let our listening audience know, and you made it pretty plain to them. A lot of times when we're looking at different organizations, they don't know that we try to work shoulder to shoulder to get the work done because it takes everyone's efforts. It takes every organization's effort. And so we don't say, hey, we're the NAACP and we don't work with other organizations. And, you guys don't say the same thing. And so we're able to work together as a unit to make sure our people are informed in the community and to make certain, certainly during the election cycle, that they are registered to vote and that they're exercising their constitutional right.
Yes, sir. You are absolutely correct. And that's one thing I like about the Macon area. In the last few years, we've been working together, Ms. Westbrook and myself, and as soon as you and I start talking, we immediately clicked and we knew what we had to do. We talked about one team, one fight, because it is about that unity. If we're going to unite our community, we as organizations going to have to come together, and no big I's, no little U's, and we're just going to work
Absolutely.
it out because it's about the people in the community, not about individuals. And so I like that about the NAACP. We've been working together for years, last 3 to 5 years, especially in the 2020 election. And I like that about the organization, and that sets the tone for what we have to do. We got a big fight coming up,
Yes, we do.
and so we're working together to make that happen.
Right, and we've got a lot of arsenal that was given to us a couple of weeks ago at that Black Voters Matters conference. You know, when they talked about environmental justice, I was like, well, what is environmental justice? You know, but when they started to show that a lot of times, as it relates to our power bills and our utilities, that Black people are sometimes targeted as far as the areas and the districts that they live in to have sometimes higher electric bills than our other counterparts. And so there's all types of injustices that we've had to face and had to work against. And I think educating our people to know just who to put the pressure on when it relates to these types of things. I know they broke down in that particular uh, seminar that I was attending the fact that if you were under Georgia Power, of course, the Public Service Commission is the area where we need to target and to put the pressure for change to get bills lowered. And not everyone is under Georgia Power. We had some people that are under EMC and other private type electrical companies, and also municipalities also have electric companies that they control. And so once we educate our people, then we know how to target getting some results in those areas, because a lot of times we just spin our wheels and we don't talk to the right folk. We don't protest the right folks to get the results that we need. And that was a very informative event, and I'm sure you took away a lot of information as well.
Yes, I did. I was. I don't know whether you remember. There was an announcement about there's been a class action suit filed against Georgia Power.
That's correct.
Okay, on behalf of the people, and I am part of that. I will be as a witness. I'll go for a witness for the people whenever they decide they're going to have the trial. And we got another meeting this evening at 6 o'clock, and I'll be on that call to discuss the strategy going forward on there. And you hit the nail on the head. Yes, we have people that have the estimated budget building. And so what they do, they pretty much charge them anything that they want to on that. And so we need to educate our people about that. But one of the largest education that they need to know about the PSE is voting to try to make sure that we have friendly people that
That's
are
right.
commissioners. And so with that being said, is we have a tendency to focus on the national elections, but we forget about the local and the state elections. And those are very, very important because they set the tone for how we're treated here in the state, and it impacts us more than national.
That's correct, because the local, your local officials, put, you got more concerns, as you mentioned, here locally than national. Kind of trickles down, so to speak, with a lot of the
Right.
policies. We do know that in the state of Georgia, Medicaid expansion, for instance, was one of those things that has hurt the state. They have not participated, and I believe there's also a lawsuit concerning that, um, where the I think the governor is actually suing the Biden administration, and just a lot of things that we have to stay on top of, because we've learned that Medicaid expansion has hurt the rural areas, rural hospitals. A lot of those hospitals have had to close simply because they haven't had the funding to continue to staff those hospitals, and that affects our people mostly in the rural areas. I think one of the statistics that was given is that just for a young lady that's a a pregnant individual, would actually have to drive about an hour away in certain areas just to deliver their child because of the lack of having those rural hospitals.
Yes, I'm going to step away from the A. Philip Randolph, and I'm going to take that hat off for a moment, and I'm going to just talk about Eddie White, because sometimes we have to step aside, and
Yeah,
I just want to share that, because you have the organization and then you have the individual. My personal preference is that we have to go with the people again that's with us and for us, right? And so, like you were saying, is that we have a candidate that's going, that Democratic candidate, female, and I won't call her name, but however, she is about getting those dollars for the people, for that Medicaid expansion, which will help all of us bring down the cost of Medicare, bring down the cost of prescription drugs. People need to know that, as we go out and canvass, sometimes we encounter people that are disenfranchised by the system, kind of just turned off, and we have to encourage them not to lose faith, to keep the faith and everything, and to trust what the community leaders are trying to guide them into making a good decision about voting. I'll share this with you, right? In Macon-Bibb County, we had about 54,000 black male and female that were registered to vote. Out of that, we had 25,000 males, black males. And out of that, only 12,000 of them voted. Out of 30,000 black females that was registered to vote, only, I think, 15 or 16,000 of them voted. So if we all voted just for Macon-Bibb, can you imagine what the impact we would have?
certainly.
And I'm just talking my Eddie White preference, not A. Philip Randolph, but just Eddie White.
Absolutely.
The impact that it would have on Macon-Bibb. We come from a city that had the first black mayor, two-term black mayor. And right now, most of our city council is white. Our commissioners are white. I mean, I got nothing personally against them, but I just think that I personally feel that we can do much better, and we're encouraging our people to get out to vote, to make a difference, to put people in office that look like you, that got your best interests at heart. And I just wanted to share that because that was near and dear to my heart as Eddie White, not as A. Philip Randolph, because I can't, yeah.
Right. Being that we're nonpartisan, both organizations,
Right.
and we try to stay, we look at the issues, particularly issues that affect the black community, and so the community of color. And so we want to make sure that they are well educated on who's representing them,
Yes.
and we always encourage people to go and to the different forums. If there are political forums that are being held, if there are debates that are being held, that you attend those debates and those forums to get a better feel of who's representing you and what their agendas are. If you don't, if you just go by, the ads and those kinds of things, a lot of times you don't get a real true feel of what that candidate is representing. And so we encourage our listeners in our community to go out and to participate in forums and to participate in debates. I know there's a big debate for the Senate race, and there have been some controversy as to why certain opponents have not attended certain debates. If they're going to attend, or and the issues that are there, are they really willing to address those? And so those are some of the things that they need to, our listening audience and our community needs to pay attention to and to participate in. I know COVID-19, of course, has caused a lot of us not to be as involved as we have been in the past, in the process. But there are safety precautions that can be taken in order to yet, do and participate in the way that they need to.
Yes, I encourage our people to get out. The thing is that if you vote for someone, you have the ability to hold their feet to the fire, to
That's right.
call them out on things that the promises that they made, the things that they said they were going to do. You have the right, and like you say, in those open forums, those political forums, encourage you to be a part of the process, be a part of the solution, not the problem. And
Yeah,
so, therefore, right, if they're not performing as you feel they should, you have the right to call them out on that. They shouldn't get offended, and if they do, that's just their problem, because they said that when you voted for them, that this is what they would do, and you as a citizen have the right to question them and call them out on that. And so I encourage our people to be part of the voting process, but also just remember there's two parts of that. Not only you just vote and forget about it, you vote and you hold the politicians accountable. Hold them
absolutely.
accountable.
And they
Yeah.
have, people have not really seriously looked at the power of the vote. As an individual, that voting power is very strong. I know during the conference we attended, the question was asked why a lot of the younger folks or millennials, don't participate in the voting process. I believe in the last election, you had a lot more participation, and I think people are seeing the importance, if you would, of getting out and voting, particularly with young people. I think education is going to be the key to get them more involved by educating them on the sacrifices that were made, certainly by those like Philip Randolph and Martin Luther King and others who have sacrificed their life and their time and energy to get people the right to vote. And the right to vote is not something that's just given. We talk about this all the time. It could easily be taken away. And we need to make certain that we are engaging our young people and educating them on how important it is to vote and the power of the vote. The vote is a very powerful tool.
With that being said, is that if you just go back and look at the 2020 election, is that see how what narrow margin.
Right.
So your vote counts. Don't say your vote don't count, because one vote, every vote counts. It counts because, again, 49.9% to 49.6%, that's only a matter of a few votes.
That's right.
It's a matter of few votes. And so your vote counts. I met a young lady at that conference you're talking about. I think her name is Kim Carter.
Yes.
Miss Carter. And we got some awesome young ladies. Young people that are
We
fired
do.
up. And her goal is to try to get young people involved. And I think young people, like you say, iron sharpens iron, and they're going to attract more young people. We got some smart young black people out there, right,
Yes.
that are ready to go, and we have to encourage them, get them involved in the process. We, as back the older generation, we're just going to have to encourage them and support them and watch them go. Because they're awesome. We got some awesome young people out there that are doing some great things. No matter what they say about our young people, they're doing some awesome things. And I'm encouraged by what I see. I really am. And I'm looking forward to it, trying to mentor a couple of them, to get them going and to support them in any way that I can. Because, like I say, every vote counts. Every vote counts.
Yes.
Every vote counts.
And a lot of those young people, they were fired up. They were really
Yeah.
fired up, and they have the energy. They have the stamina to get things done. When it comes to, getting out there, knocking on doors, putting out flyers, making those calls, sending out those text messages to get people involved in the process. Um, they're more computer savvy. They're faster and quicker than we could ever be. With a lot of those technologies. And they have really put those things to test. And so, we applaud their efforts. And uh, I was very delighted to see the young people that participated in that conference that we attended. It was a great conference.
Yes. The young ladies from Black Voters Matter, Miss Fanika Miller and
Yes.
Ms. Ida Gary, is that those two young ladies, right, they got Black Voters Matter on the move. Now, A. Philip Randolph has been working with them on a special project called the Warrant Clinic, which will be taking place on this Saturday coming up from 10 to 2.
That's correct.
And
They're going to be done the expungements.
of a warrant, not of criminal records, but these
Oh, okay.
will be dealing with minor misdemeanors, bench warrants, state and municipal, and so we've been out there working hard for the last 2.5 months, trying to get people to get pre-registered for that.
Now,
And
do
so,
you have?
we're
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I was going to ask if
That's
you
what we've
had
been.
that information in front of you, the place and where they can go and get registered, or
What I will do, I will send you a flyer as soon as I get off the call. I will forward you a flyer, and
okay,
I have to apologize. I wanted to put that out there, but there has been a change of location. It was at Word and Deed Church on at 4600 Mercer University Boulevard, but that location has changed, and currently I don't have it in front of me to where it changed.
okay,
I will get that location to you before. What time are you getting off the air?
we'll be off at 4:30. So
4:30. I will get that out to you, and you can put it on your Facebook page. You can put it on
wonderful.
your Facebook page. Yeah, I'll get that to you. But we've had some good participation in that. We're looking forward to people getting their warrants removed for no cost at all. There was a warrant clinic done in Fort Valley last year on the 18th of September. They had 30 people. That was 30 people that ended up getting warrants taken off. You can imagine riding down the street in a car with a friend. I mean, you don't have to be driving, doing anything. You can be riding with someone, and they have a traffic violation. They pull you over, run your information, and you got a warrant on. You got to go to jail.
That just happened
You
to
go on
someone I
Friday, you
knew.
got to be there probably until Monday.
Yes, that just happened to someone I know. They had no idea they had a warrant some years ago, and they were pulled over for a traffic violation and were jailed. And so that's a very real thing. People really need to check, to see if they have outstanding warrants. That's one of the things
Yes,
all of us, need to do to make sure you didn't have a ticket out there that's been kind of lingering, or because it can happen
yes.
to anyone.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely, it will. And it can. Yeah.
And so,
I will go ahead on, Mr. Dumas. Go ahead on.
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say this, right. One thing I didn't do right, I did want to give this history of A. Philip Randolph, real brief history of Mr. Randolph and the organization. Mr. Randolph was born in 1889 because people don't know about Mr. Randolph. They know about Dr. King. Mr. King started the first black union, the Pullman Car Porters. From there, he went on to organize the March on Washington. A lot of people did not know that. You talk about the speech that John Lewis gave at the March on Washington.
Right.
He had to clear that with Mr. Randolph. He had to clear that with Mr. Randolph. Mr. Randolph is referred to as the father of civil rights.
Wow.
And so since 1965, this organization has been in existence. And so we're continuing on today, is that we're led by an awesome lady, Ms. Cleola Brown. I tell you, like I was mentioning, black women are leading this country. They are. And no knock on the brothers, it's just more women than there are men. But, we're holding our own, but there's just a lot of sisters out there doing the do. They're doing
Absolutely.
what it takes in order, And like I say, I got to take my hat off to this lady because she's down to earth, but she is a fireball. She is a fireball. And so hats off to her for running this organization. We are doing some things. We are really doing some things. And I'm proud to be a president under her. And again, just following her lead. I just wanted to get that out there, make sure that people are aware of A. Philip Randolph, who he is, who he was, and what the organization is currently doing.
Absolutely, because culture and history is so important today, particularly for our younger folks who weren't around when a lot of the events were taking place, and a lot of these civil rights leaders' names were on the forefront of civil rights. But so now we have a younger generation that we have to continue to pass that information on to, so that they can have the knowledge and the understanding as to why these organizations are as important as they are, and the efforts of those individuals that started those organizations, how important they are also. So, Mr. White, I certainly applaud you for being on the show today. And I know you had a great time at the conference, as I did also. And I know that we both will be hitting the ground running with both organizations, getting people registered to vote and doing those things that we know will make a difference in our community. And so we applaud your efforts, and we also applaud you for being on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me on. Again, as always, thank you for what you guys are doing. We talked about collaboration. I'm looking forward to us getting together, the two organizations getting together, maybe with some other ones, and having a big, big turnout, getting our people educated, get them that information, that get out the vote. So tell them to get ready because we're coming.
Absolutely, we're coming. I
Coming
think
to your door.
the big mantra for the Black Voters Matter is we won't black down. That's
We
the
won't black
slogan.
down. We're going to black up. We won't
That's
black
right.
down.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Have a great evening, and we'll be talking, of course, throughout the upcoming weeks to get things going and to get people
Yes, sir.
excited about this election.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Have a
Thank
blessed
you.
one.
You also.
All right.
And before we close out this evening, just like to thank our listening audience for listening in today. I hope that you will support the A. Philip Randolph organization as well as the NAACP. We solicit your support, because without your support, there's nothing we can do. We know that it takes monies to run an organization, and the more that you give towards our organization, simply there's the more we can do in our community. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. And as I signed off, in the absence of our president, President WESTBROOKS, enjoy your evening, and we'll see you on next week. Have a great evening.
You have been listening to the live broadcast of the NAACP with Gwinnett Westbrook and Mr. Dumas. Come join us next Monday at 4 o'clock p.m. on 980 WDDO.